So maybe you are an early stage academic in the humanities, or maybe you're a late stage PhD student and you want to get something published. You're trying to figure out how to write the best so that you can get into a conference, into a edited volume, or ideally a peer-reviewed journal. What are you going to do? As a PhD student, you have a lot of resources. Hopefully, you have your advisors, your dissertation readers, you have people in your department who would be willing to work with you. You have other graduate students who want to work with you. When you become an alum and you no longer have institutional access necessarily to a lot of these things, you start to wonder, how can I make sure that I'm still writing the best that I can write so that I can produce useful scholarship? And what I mean is, how can I help further my field? How can I grow and help others to grow as readers, learners, critical thinkers? I have a couple pieces of advice. First thing that you're going to do, you're going to grab yourself a copy of Wendy Laura Belcher's Writing Your Journal article in 12 weeks. This is a wonderful little guide. It's good whether you're in the humanities and social sciences or in STEM. It's going to be useful either way, but it breaks down the process in the most actionable way possible. So there's a little introduction that talks about how to use the workbook, and then it's separated into weeks. So it goes from week 1 to week 12, and each week is a specific thing that you are doing that week. Either refining a piece of writing you've already done, drafting something new, strengthening your structure, talking about your evidence. The book assumes that you have a draft of something that you're going to work on, that you're going to refine into something publishable, but that's really not that hard to do. You don't have to think about it too hard. Just sit and write something. Write something that you can start with. It doesn't have to be very good. It could actually be quite bad. It doesn't have to have all of its citations done properly. It doesn't have to be super well structured. Just something, a place to start. And with that starting point, you're going to go through this book every single week. You're going to sit down, you're going to read the chapter, you're going to do what it says. And at the end of 12 weeks, you're going to be a hell of a lot closer to publishing than you were before you pick this up. So that's the first thing you're going to do, is you're going to pick up this book. The second thing you're going to do, even if you're not a social scientist like me, I am not a social scientist, you're going to run out and you're going to grab Writing for Social Scientists by Howard S. Becker. So it does say Writing for Social Scientists right on the front of it, but most of this is applicable beyond the social sciences. So I'm a literary critic, and I still found this extremely valuable. The thing that is most valuable about this book, I think, is that where Belcher addresses the more practical, mechanical, nitty gritty elements of writing, this talks more about the inner landscape of the writer themselves. What is going through your mind as you're trying to produce something? It talks about getting over the pretension that academia can instill in certain people, about speaking clearly, writing clearly, thinking clearly, about the fact that writing is how you figure out what you want to say, and editing is how you make it so that the other person figures out what you want to say. They're two separate steps. This one helps you define those two steps and complete those two steps. So, first, Writing Your Journal article in 12 weeks by Belcher, and then you're going to run out and get Becker's Writing for Social Scientists. Now, this isn't a recommendation because I myself haven't read it yet, but I'm working my way through now. Make Your Manuscript Work by Laura Portwood Stacer. This is not her first book. She had written the book proposal book, which I also haven't read, but I've heard really good things about. So I'm going to work through this, which is a guide to developmental editing for scholarly writers. And again, this assumes that you have a draft. I do have a bunch of unfinished pieces. I have a lot of things that I was hoping to do something with, that I had sent out to places and got reviewer notes, that I never sent anywhere, that I had friends read, that I had no one read. I have a lot of things that are just kind of sitting around that I would like to see published. Things that I think are valuable contributions, things that I really care about. And so I'm working on editing these things. Again, we're assuming that you're not starting from square one. You've worked your way through a gross, messy, not finished, but workable draft, right? So that's what you're doing. You're working with a draft. So at this point, you've got Writing Your Journal article in 12 weeks by Belcher, Writing for Social Scientists, and by Becker, and Portwood Stacer's Make Your Manuscript Work. I'll let you know what I think of this in the future post. I do want to mention one of the most valuable things that I saw this week was a reel that I'm going to have linked somehow to this video from at Safana Banana. She is a comms expert who talks about how to read and how to learn in a way that is more valuable than a lot of the stuff I learned in grad school, believe it or not. So you should check that reel out. I follow her system now to annotate my books. I'm not going to go over her system of book annotation because, well, it's her system. You should go to her channel to find it out. But these tabs, the highlighting, the writing, I followed her system and it works. It works really well. And I suggest it. So that's what you're going to do. You are going to take a draft of something that you've started, something that is not quite done, but that you want to do something with. If you don't have that yet, then you're starting at that point. You're going to take an idea, you're going to workshop it with some other colleagues or people in your field, maybe present it at a conference. Once you've got some feedback, you're going to make a draft. And a draft is a very generous way of saying you're just putting as much as you can from out of your head onto the paper. When that's done, you are then going to pick up these books. You're going to read these books. You're going to annotate them the way at Safana Banana is going to tell you how to do it. And then you're going to let me know what journal you published it in. Good luck.